let's bring in the Titans. I think this is going to make for a fun conversation because the Titans in their first appearance, I'm not sure they've wrapped themselves in glory as we were just trying to bring their team together. So
I
Dres,
let you do this, Anak.
you wanted. I was going to say let you and me take a break and let Wasim and Dan make this. Anyway,
Yeah,
no, but
that's good.
let's do it. Let's help them. Let's not be mean. Let's throw in Shubman Gill first up, along with Jason Roy, who we think would certainly get the nod, even though he was picked up only at base price, right? Now, let's go to 8 and 9 or something and fill up.
No, I think we can. I think Hardik at 5, Tewatia at 6. So at least Hardik at 5 seems a sure shot.
Right.
And Vijay Shankar.
Well, let's put Tewatia in at 9 crore. He's certainly a starter.
Yeah, even Vijay Shankar, I think, will start.
Well, like I said, it's one of those things. Let's put in Tewatia because we know it's. Let's put in Rashid Khan. We know he's going to start. Let's put him in at 9. Although Rashid Khan wouldn't mind batting in the top 3 given the choice. But
Lockie Ferguson.
Right. Lockie Ferguson, big money signing. So let's get Lockie in at 11. Although, I think 11's a bit high for Lockie, but let's put him there.
Mohammad Shami.
Mohammad Shami at 10. Well, Lockie Ferguson's brilliant, right? He was excellent for KKR, so he certainly walks into this team. Now we've got some holes to fill. Let's run through that squad. Sometimes even the price dictates your starting 11. We know.
I would think Sai Kishore kind of fits the 11 because he's a left-arm spinner.
Wasim, you go with that? There are Sai Kishore.
Yeah. Sai Kishore definitely start the 11. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. So let's put Sai Kishore in there. The Tamil Nadu spinner paid good money, again 3 crore for Sai Kishore. We've got 3 overseas slots filled. Dan, why don't you complete that overseas slot now? Would you go Dominic Drakes? Would you go David Miller with the experience? Would you go Matthew Wade?
I think
they need a keeper.
Yeah, if you dropped Tawadi down to 7 and Pandya at 6, albeit that Hardik will bat wherever Surrey wants or the situation depends, and then you have Matthew Wade, and it's.
So are you seeing Wade as their first choice keeper now to start and not a Riddhiman Saha? You're going to see Matthew Wade there because I think he came in late, but he may just be the first piece that they need to put in as a keeper bat. Would you go Matthew Wade, Dan?
Yes, I would. Yeah. Right. I think he's been playing well too. I think, and he gives them that middle order as well. That's always a difficult position to put in, and that therefore that brings in probably Vijay Shankar to that lower middle order.
All right, so let's do that. Okay, let's put in Hardik and Rahul Tewatia one position lower. Of course, that batting order will always remain flexible. We've got Matthew Wade before them, and those 3 would obviously float around. And Vijay Shankar to go into a top 4 role that he tried for India as well as for the Sunrisers. Is that looking like the team that you'd field? Maybe Vijay Shankar, Hardik Pandya up and down. Wasim, there still is a hole, isn't there? A top order bat or a specialist bat. Who fills that hole?
I would be tempted to play Gurkirat Singh. Is it is he the Punjab batter, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. Gurkirat picked up late in the day in one of the accelerated.
I would be tempted to go with him and give him few game time, and you never know, he's an attacking batter. That so slot probably will.
Gurkirat high up the order, Wasim, or we move everyone up, maybe Wade at 3, Pandya at 4, and Gurkirat in the middle. Where would you play Gurkirat?
I think I'll play him at 3, and then 5, 6, and 7 looks very solid. So I think Vijay Shankar at 4 would be decent. That slot probably will suit him. So I think this looks a better lineup.
All right, interesting. So Dan, yes.
I was going to say they started so well, weren't we praising them? And now it's very difficult to make a plain 11.
I'll tell you what, we thought Hardik Pandya and Rashid Khan are such a rare skill set or type of talent to find that they've anyway got an advantage. And then after, when they got Mohammad Shami at a reasonable pick in the marquee set, you thought that's great. So that started well, but they somehow never filled the hole of someone who's a sure shot to bat in the top 4. Now, Dan, is that the best way to start for you? Gurkirat, Vijay Shankar, who if Roy and Gill start well, then the likes of Pandya, Wade can all come in higher. Or would you start with a little more insurance of another bat? If you lose an early wicket there, it's interesting who walks in at 3.
I don't think they have too many. I mean, you guys would have to explain some of the younger players. Who are there any potential there to come into that top order? And the other thing is whether they'll play the 3 spinners, albeit Tawadi they'll see as an all-rounder, and whether they get another Indian fast bowler in there to give them a bit of flexibility.
I mean, they paid decent money for Abhinav Manohar, who bats in the middle order for Karnataka. That's 2.6 crore that they spent. So this is a player they really wanted. So that's one option that you've got, that everyone who goes up a slot now. Maybe Wade bats 3. Wade likes to bat higher up the order. And then Abhinav Manohar, who they paid good money for, could possibly come in. Now, Yash Dayal, they also paid good money for, but that's in the bowling where they seem fairly well covered. The left-arm seamer from Uttar Pradesh is an option. But I'm just looking purely in terms of who they went for decent money for, and maybe because they find that player as part of their plans. GS, anything to add? Then I'll go to Wasim too.
No, I think what the only change I would do is Wade either opens or bats at 7 for Australia, which is what he's been doing now as a finisher. So I would move. I think Hardik will take up more responsibility. I think Hardik will move up to 4 or 5, and I would move Wade to 6 or 7 depending on the situation. So just the Wade's position would I will change, but there's nothing. If you see again, Rashid, Sai Kishore, Shami, Lockie, the batting pretty. Is pretty poor down from number 8 also. They don't have that depth, and Tivatia, we don't know what we'll get. So it's a lot of dependency on maybe Jason Roy and Shubman Gill to get those really good starts.
Wasim, if we do, let's just move that for what it's worth, because I think it looked different with Hardik Pandya batting at 4, and then Matthew Wade goes to 7, Tewatia and before him. But if you put Hardik Pandya high up, would that be such a bad thing given the form that and the fitness he's struggling to find? Now they have a lot of middle order players, almost players who can do the job Hardik is supposed to do. Matthew Wade's there, Tewatia's there. You could even throw in Vijay Shankar, though he's unproven in that department. But would you be tempted to bat Hardik Pandya as high as you can for Ahmedabad, for Gujarat?
I think 4 and 5 probably is good number for Hardik. If he spends a little bit of time because he was playing in MI and then Pollard to follow him, he could play his role. But now he has to do that role himself. And if the openers doesn't get too many runs and Hardik doesn't have a few good games, I don't see many players who can make an impact. So that is going to be the worrying point for this team. The bowling looks very good, but the batting, apart from those two at the top of the order and Hardik, if they don't fire, the batting looks very vulnerable.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. Matthew Wade has to almost do a job for them. If he suddenly doesn't hit form, then who would you bring in to keep wicket and change the balance? Are you going to go to David Miller, who's a bit of a question mark himself? At what point does Dominic Drakes become a tempting option for this team, Dan?
I think early on, I think they'll see him, and to your point around giving them a little bit of depth of the bat. I mean, we shouldn't underestimate Rashid Khan with the bat. I think he still offers enough, and then he becomes. Well, then Wade could go up the top of the order, and they leave Roy out, and then they have the fourth overseas as the sort of the fast bowling all rounder. So they have a little bit of movement around those overseas bowlers, but their top order batting is probably the thing that's going to worry them throughout the tournament. Around, if you look at other teams, they wouldn't go. A Gurkharat Singh wouldn't be close to a top 3 or 4 for most teams, but here he could potentially be in that position.
Yes, Wasim.
Yeah, I think they've got a lot of players, Ronak. But if you want to put him into 11, you're not very sure. They've got But do you risk playing them? I mean, if you want to play any player, I'm not too sure whether you can do that in an IPL game. We are not very sure even picking them in the 11 here. So I dare in an IPL game. So it's quite scary actually.